Welcome to another episode of Same Page. We are your hosts, Sarah SEMAJUSTE.
And I'm Lynn SEMAJUSTE.
Today we have two very special guests coming. We're bringing to you guys. We have Adriel and Keva Chablal. Am I saying that right?
You said it perfect.
Perfect,
Awesome.
nice.
Perfect. So I'll just actually let you guys introduce yourselves. We actually met you guys just through social media. I feel like we're doing something similar in terms of bringing some very important topics to the table and discussing them. And I can relate to you guys because we're both, we're all Caribbean here and of the Black community. And I think there's not enough of that representation on social media and of that couple. So thank you for doing that. So I'll let you guys introduce yourself. Who are you guys?
Okay, so as you said, I'm Adriel, Chablal,
and Keva.
Keva, yes. So we're a young Christian couple. As we said many times before, we love God. He's the center of our lives, and we just want to share, our experience with the world, basically how a young couple can, still love God and still get through all the trials, all the difficulties like anyone else, but, just persevere through. So,
and have that sense of hope.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I feel like in the world that we live in today, being a Christian is almost like you have to be shy about it. Like, oh yeah, hi, yeah, I'm a Christian. But if let's say I'm vegan, I'm vegan to the world, but we want to be proud and say it's still okay to be young and still a Christian and have values and morals. So that's something we represent.
Yeah.
Oh, very good. Very good. So it's all about being bold in your beliefs, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. So who came up with the idea of starting a YouTube page, and how do you guys feel about sharing your whole lives on social media?
It was initially me. So I had a page about cooking, but then I love cooking. It's a passion of mine, but it wasn't my whole life. And we wanted to. I bought the things at age. I was like, hey babe, so what if we start a couples channel? He's like, nah. He was camera shy. Yeah. He was always behind the camera. So I said, but no, babe, wait. I feel as though it could be a way for us to minister, because we were actually youth leaders in our church.
Okay.
And we wanted to just have a positive impact on the youth around us. But I said, okay, what if we can help others who are not around us on the web? So I put it to him like that. And he was like, you know what? That's a good idea.
I was
I like how you convinced him.
Yeah, I'm all about ministry. Like, I love the youth, I love young people, and just seeing them grow, because I've been through my journey and I want to help people, get through their journey too. So when she put it like from that perspective, I was sold. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
I'm on for it.
And then with regards to putting our life out, how do we feel about it? I'm a pretty transparent person, period. So if I can say my life experience, no matter what it is, to help someone else, it's like, you know what, why not? Because at the end of the day, it's not about me. It's not about him.
Yeah.
It's about being servants for God. And however God wants to use us on this platform, just let it happen.
Yeah.
That's great. It's so powerful that you guys have found your purpose, and you guys have found a medium in which you guys can do it together. And really, like, as you guys said, minister to young people, because we were lucky enough, I don't know about your story, but we were lucky enough to grow up in a household where, both our parents were married, and they gave us kind of like a good example of what a relationship should look like. Did you guys have the same experience in your household as far as having a good example of what a healthy marriage or relationship should look like?
No, for me, I grew up in a single parent home, and I've always had a fantasy about finding the right guy, having a family, because that's, and watching Disney and stuff, as you grow up, you see they lived happily ever after. Yeah. So there was a point in time where I actually over romanticized the idea of marriage. But when I met him, there wasn't no sparks either. When I met him, we were friends, and I think that's what helps our relationship. We were friends. So I didn't have that example, but going through life experiences, reading books, and being around other couples who have healthy marriages kind of shift my thoughts and say, you know what? Marriage isn't all about the romance and all of that, but it's more so about becoming one in Christ.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right. And I'm glad you said that, because what we see on TV is not the reality. And I think it's the greatest approach to become friends and then to like build that relationship, right? A lot of times we think there's going to be this spark, like, ooh, like Kinky Lies, and then you fall in love and you get married and then it's like have children, and like it doesn't work like that, right? You really have to build that trust and just that communication, relationship, and all that. So I'm glad you said that. In your channel, you bring up some topics which are considered, I would say, taboo, like sex and pornography. And you guys talk about God and being leaders in the community at church. So what kind of feedback have you guys had any feedback talking about these topics? Because I know in the church community in general, these are not things that are talked about often.
Mm-hmm. Not at all. And I think that's why, a lot of people reached out to us on social media, like friends from our church, and they're like, yo, I didn't know you were going through this, like I'm struggling with this too. I might need you as an accountability partner. I might need, pray for me, please. And there was so much good feedback. It blew my mind, because that wasn't I didn't expect that people would reach out to me.
No, I didn't.
Like some people I hadn't really spoken to in a while reached out and, really commended us for being so open about it, because it shows to me like a lot of people are dealing with it, but no one's talking about it.
Right.
Yeah, people are more worried about what people think.
Yes.
Than actually being accountable and being open with it to overcome. Yeah. So it was mixed though. I know some, like your mom, for example.
Y'all know Caribbean people.
Yeah, yes, we do.
Whatever happens behind closed doors, you can stay behind closed doors. So we don't know about your business. But I had my mom, she was like, Keva, why you putting all this stuff out? I didn't know this about you. Like, she's discovering a lot of what I had to deal with through our channel.
Yeah.
You know what? I had to say, Mom, and I said something I said earlier, it's not about me in this moment. It's about other people. Because I said there's so many people, young people, teenagers, preteens, who are exposed to, let's say, pornography at a young age, who may have been molested or encountered some kind of sexual encounter at a young age and don't know how to deal with it. And I said, if I can be an example or just share my story and how God has helped me to overcome, then I would have done my job as a person and as a Christian. So she was able to flip her perspective on that and said, okay, well, just be mindful of how and how much you put out, and
I honestly watched that episode and I just condone you for your bravery, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because in the church community, I feel like oftentimes when we look at another person, we feel like they're perfect. All they do is go to church, praise God, everything has to, which maybe it is, but there's like, we're all human, right? And we all make mistakes and we all have a path. So to bring like a very real topic to the table and discuss it and saying, I've gone through this. I've struggled through this, but I'm still a child of God. Like it's not because I've done this or, experienced that I'm not. And I think we need to bring that together. Like we are all human and we go through certain things. And I think that brings us all together because we all make these mistakes, but we don't talk about them, right? And you can still be a child of God and, go through these things and overcome them. So I love that. I absolutely do.
Thank you. It took courage. It wasn't easy. Like it was on our heart for some months. Like we really had to pray about it, and we discussed it before. And I felt like, for me, it wasn't the right time. You just know when it's the right time. When we did it, I felt so comfortable. I felt like, yeah, this is it. But before, when we had discussed it, should we talk about like, I don't know if I'm ready for that yet. You know what I mean? But yeah, or everything happens at the right time.
Yeah. Yes. That's the motto I live by. Faith in His timing, and I actually have it tattooed on my arm. Especially when we were going through things, nothing happens before God's time. So
exactly.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, so we covered how your community, whether it's your church or your family community, has dealt with as far as the impact of your vlog. But how has the impact of this YouTube channel or this vlog have on your relationship?
You know.
You want me to go?
Yeah.
I would say it has brought us closer together because before when I was just doing the food stuff, it was just me. I had to edit, I had to do all like the talking and stuff like that. But this couple channel has actually brought us together because it's a partnership. And it's not just me putting myself out there, he's putting himself out there together. So we're like diving into the deep together and we're staying afloat together. So it's like it builds the bond and makes it stronger. We're not gonna agree on every topic we talk about. And there's gonna be topics that he may have made me upset or I may have made him upset about, like that's what we're talking about and bring it to the forefront. But it's just to show that we're vulnerable, we're young, not both your age have nothing to do with it. We're vulnerable and we're human.
Yes.
And I think us doing that allows us to see each other from different lenses. You know, understand, okay, maybe I was selfish in this moment, or maybe I could have handled this moment differently, you know?
And a lot of people don't, like a lot of couples some that we've met, they don't really do things together. So this kind of gives us, like, we're working on a project together. So, you know, that's something that builds our marriage. Yes, like Keva said, we're not going to agree on everything, but that then helps us to handle different situations, dealing with conflict, even within this project, because it's not easy. You know, she may want to do a topic, I don't want to do it, she might want to do it, you know, so just working through that and getting through it. But I think I've enjoyed like every minute. At first, you know, I was super shy. I didn't want to go in front of the camera and, you know, I didn't know what to say. But as we've gone on, I'm so happy because of how many people's lives like it's touched so far. It's like more than it. So I'm happy that I agree. Sometimes you gotta listen to your wife, right? So,
preach, brother, preach.
I love it. I think it had the same impact on our relationship too, because those topics that you're like, I don't want to talk about it in front of the camera, but you discuss it amongst you two. And it may have, if you hadn't had that channel, maybe you wouldn't have even discussed it, that topic between you two, right? And then you're like, okay, we're comfortable with that. Let's bring it to the table and discuss it more openly. That's amazing. I know initially you guys are talking about cooking. So what's your some of your favorite dishes? I want to know. Like, you guys are Caribbean. What's being cooked at the table?
Okay.
I cook everything. I don't just cook Caribbean, but I cook, like yesterday I made some fish tacos. They were amazing because I was craving it. Yeah, they were amazing. What else we make? Her
favorite food's not Caribbean. Her favorite food's pizza.
Yeah, since I was little. I can eat pizza every day. Every day.
Wow.
I love pizza.
It's all good.
I love me some roti. You know, I don't really eat meat like that. Sometimes I eat fish. So roti, some chickpeas and stuff like that. Some pilau. You know, I love Trini food, to be honest. Yeah.
I like to experiment. So I cook Caribbean food, but I experiment different recipes, Asian, Indian flavors. I love that, you know, like I've been that way since I was young. I don't like to sit in one box. I like to, like, you know, get my feet wet everywhere and say, oh yeah, I cooked some pad thai today, or you know, so
I feel like we can hang. I honestly feel like we can hang like that. Like, as much as I really like Caribbean food, that's not something I cook very often, just because of how it's not always the healthiest thing, and we obviously try to be healthy. And just like you, Adriel, I tend to have more of a vegetarian diet. So I try to experiment with like different, you know, foods and Asian or even pizza. I try to make it a little bit healthier so that I don't feel so bad, you know, all the time. So that's really cool.
What's your backgrounds, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, we're both Haitian.
Okay.
And I make la croix. That's good.
I was born there. I was born in Haiti. Came here when I was around 11, and
I was born here in Ottawa.
Okay.
Yeah, and then both my parents came here to do their post-secondary education and got married here, and then the rest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's awesome, man.
The first time you guys reached out to us, it was through you mentioned that you saw us on Matt McKeever's YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So are you guys into real estate investing, or what's sort of like your journey in that?
So I've always been interested in real estate investing, but I just haven't had like the capital, I guess to get started. I have gotten my license, my realtor license actually at the beginning of this year.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, a couple months ago. Yeah, but I started the process. In January, got my realtor license, found a mentor and all that. But what stood out to me that day, I saw a black couple.
It's like, oh, black couple.
Yeah, because I've been looking for someone in Canada, who kind of deals with real estate investing. And I saw Matt McKeever's channel, but I've never seen a black couple. So I'm like, yo, a black couple. So that kind of stood out to me. So I watched the episode. I'm like, I need to, find these people and get in touch. So that's what really, sparked my interest in that video specifically to reach out to you guys.
Oh, that's great.
That's amazing. That really shows the importance of representation, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And as a Black female, to tell the truth, like not only it's, I think real estate in general, I don't know, maybe I'm biased a little bit, but I feel like it's a male dominant field. I know there are a lot of women who are killing it, and I'm always looking for women who are doing well. And because I want to see myself, doing it, right? And it kind of gives me the confidence to go out there and talk to sellers and talk to agents and raise capital, because I know other women have done it, right. Especially women of color. So I think like the more you put yourself out there, there's more people who look like you,
right,
who are going to want to do the same thing, and they're going to find the courage to elevate, right? So anything positive that you're doing, I think it's very important to showcase that, because you never know who's watching.
For real, yeah. And how long have you guys been, investing in real estate?
Officially since last year, tell the truth, officially. But we've been purchasing since 2014. Not really knowing what we were doing, just kind of like, I have a little bit of money, let's buy this. And long story short, last year during the pandemic, we, workload kind of decreased because, everything's shut down. Yeah. And we started watching YouTube channels and Facebook ads, and we're like, oh, we should follow this person. And we found a mentor. And through that mentorship, we were able to purchase multiple properties without a lot of capital. So we need to talk further.
Yeah.
That's something that I wanted to say. You don't necessarily need the capital to invest. You just need to raise it.
Exactly. So people need to know who you are. Exactly.
Yeah. So I encourage you, even through your channel, to talk about, the things that you want to do, the fact that you got your license and all of that. I think that will attract a lot of people. And that way, you could raise some capital and to buy your property. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks for the encouragement.
Yeah.
It has been on my mind, and
that's the plan.
To talk about it.
Because it was a leap of faith, to be honest. Yeah. Because we just moved into our home.
Yeah.
And then we started during the pandemic our own t-shirt and sweatshirt. It's like a Christian line.
I love it.
On. And so we pumped a lot of money into that, and then we had to pump money into
getting my license, which isn't cheap either. $6,000 altogether, including all the fees and everything. So
I told him, I said, you know what? We prayed about both the shirts, the home, the everything. And I said, if this is where God is leading you, if this is what God is leading you to do, gotta go ahead and do it. Just be obedient, and stuff will happen in its time, and He will provide the means for us to do it. So that's what we did. And God showed up. We were able to do what we have to do. And now it's just taking it literally one day at a time, stepping out in faith.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I've closed the deal already in my first month. And I've got another one in the works. So I would have made back my money, you know, after the closing the second deal. So yeah, God is good.
That's great.
Yeah, yeah. My plan is to quit because I'm working full time as well.
Okay.
I'm doing that part time. So, you know, replace my income and then, you know, quit my job and then move that way and start investing in real estate. So we definitely have to talk more.
Oh, we definitely will.
We do.
Yeah.
God is faithful, because I've been in a situation where I'm just like you, I'm just like, well, I don't have the capital, but if I put the money into that, will it come back? And it comes back like tenfold, right? So you just have to have faith and take the leap. I love your line. What does it say? Hope, faith, and love. I love that. Every time I see that t-shirt, I'm like, or that sweater, I'm like, I need to get one. Where do they get that from? That's amazing. Where are you guys located? Which province?
Calgary, Alberta.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay. Yeah. We'll definitely talk further about real estate. Is there anything that you guys do in terms of personal development, like to really be on that mindset? Because to put out this content, you have to be on another level. Like it's not anybody can do that. Is there anything that you guys practice that really helps you elevate your mindset?
Yeah, go ahead.
First of all, I think counseling, to be honest, is one thing that has shifted our mindset. Okay. Because when we initially came together, we still had a lot of developing to do. Yeah. And then also realizing that no matter how old you are, you're always gonna learn something new. So don't be tunnel-minded to say, I can't expand my horizons. That's number one. So we did counseling. And we read. We read. We probably should read more frequently. But we read a lot of motivational books. There's one called The Magic of Thinking Big. Sometimes you lose, sometimes you learn. Like, I can't remember the authors on the top of my head right now, but there are certain books we read. The Mentor and CEO. Like, there's so many books that's out there to help you flip your perspective to say, okay, I don't have to box myself in. Because also growing up, like, he moved to England at a young age, whereas I moved from the Bahamas at age 18. So the mindset of people home, very close-minded, I can say. I believe so, because I still talk to a lot of people home, and it's just they limit themselves. I'm like, no. Even I have a younger niece. I said, you can do whatever you want to do, and don't think because of the color of your skin, because of where you are now, or the environment you're growing up in, that you cannot be whatever you want to be. So I try to encourage anyone I can to expand their horizons. So we read, and then we listen to podcasts. So that has helped as well. And I think just using our time wisely. We don't just browse social media all day or watch meaningless TV, because you are what you consume. That's what your mind, everything. So it's just being very aware of what you consume mentally and put that same energy out.
Absolutely. We're avid readers. I think Leonard became more of an avid reader since last year, but we get reading done every day. So whether it's 5 to 10 pages, nowadays I'm reading with the baby, like on my hand, I'm trying to have the other books on the other hand. But that does, I think like a lot of education or a lot of personal development comes from books. Through school, you learn a set curriculum. And it's almost like it dictates that everybody's mindset. It's like, you're going to think like that. You're going to go to school, you're going to get a job, you're going to retire at 65. They only teach you certain things, right? But through books, I feel like the knowledge is limitless,
Possibilities are endless.
Exactly. You can learn so much more. And I used to read a lot of fiction books. And now it's more personal development. And I'm going to check out those books that you mentioned, Keva, and add them to the list, because I think that is one way to really elevate your mindset. And through that, change your lifestyle and really believe that you can achieve, whatever you want.
Absolutely.
So you guys mentioned counseling in there. And that's one thing that for us at the beginning of our relationship, well, mostly at the beginning of our marriage, that transition, living with someone and sharing that same space. For us, we had some obstacles to deal with as far as mainly communication. So we seeked counsel. We tried to be proactive about it. And actually, that was kind of like the catalyst of what started our YouTube page as well, because that was a project for us to do together for one. And for us, it kind of forces us to communicate and to have those tough conversations. So when it came to getting that counseling, what are some of the big lessons that you got out of it?
Oh, wow. It's like so many. I think communication, I must say, first and foremost, I had a little slip up, which led to us.
We're going to talk about it in the next video.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in one of our videos.
All right.
Just transparent, which led to us saying, you know what, really need to do counseling and have therapy and find out why, certain habits are still, hard to die.
I was like, if you want to marry me, you need to get it together.
Yeah.
There was certain stuff I was not going to compromise.
Yeah.
So we have to deal with the issue at hand.
Yeah, because growing up, being with different girls in England, I had different habits that I've developed, and I thought that it was gone, but it was still there, right? Because if you don't deal with issues, they just become suppressed, right?
Absolutely.
Come up. So that led us to go into counseling. We learned how to communicate way better than we knew how to, not blaming each other.
Accountability.
We had tools to describe our feelings, are you mad, sad, glad, the 5, something like that, so we could communicate our feelings. Because I went the best at communicating my feelings. I don't know about you, Leonard, but men generally don't really communicate their feelings great. So that helped me communicate that. And Keva is also an amazing, she communicates super effectively. So that kind of encouraged me. That's how I think anyway.
I try.
Because sometimes I wouldn't want to talk and then she'll give me time, right? And said, okay, let's just deal with it later.
That's after counseling.
So we learn, when to go or not go or push, or when to hold back.
Yeah.
So not stonewalling, which is something that we
both did. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Lake Louise. It's like it's in Banff area. It's like 2-hour drive.
Okay.
One day he was mad with me. I was mad with him. My mom was in town, so he was going to take us to the mountains that day. So his family, my family, we all were in one car, and I did not talk for 2 hours.
Dang.
We stonewalled.
We weren't really dealing with the issue. Like, for those who don't know, stonewalling is like you're just refusing to communicate. You're just refusing to communicate or say a word to each other.
Yeah.
So and she talks. She's a healthy talker. Imagine her not talking for 2 hours.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's not her.
And I think one thing we also learned is you can't change the other person.
Yes.
I think a lot of times we go into relationships with expectations to say, oh, if I don't like this, I can change this about him. Or if I don't like the way she dresses, I can change this. But both of us have to learn that this is who this person is, and we cannot change them. We either deal with or try to fix some issues that's going on, but you can't actually change the individual. Once again, that's playing Holy Spirit. You can't change no one. Exactly. Only the Holy Spirit can convert someone into the person that God has intended them to be, right?
Yeah.
That's amazing. I can't Well, no, definitely counseling has done wonders for us as well. And I encourage anybody out there who not necessarily struggling. I think if you're thinking of being in a long-term relationship with someone, should get counseling and just be proactive about it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like equipping yourself with a lot of skills to, deal with them later on, as opposed to, when problems arise, then you're like, oh, what do we do? And at that point, sometimes you're almost at your breaking point, and you're not thinking of counseling, you're thinking about, leaving at that point, right? So it's always good to be proactive and to start it early on if you're thinking about being with that person long term, I definitely recommend it.
Absolutely, yeah, we agree 100%. We're all broken people at the end of the
Absolutely.
day.
Yes.
Yeah. And like, I know for me, when it came to our relationship, speaking of that, the whole Stonewall, like we've had many occasions where we fought in silence and we go days without really communicating. And one thing that counseling really helped us is to narrow that gap and to narrow and to shorten those times where we're maybe angry at each other. So instead of going maybe 3 days without talking, now we'll probably go maybe 24 hours to 12 hours, right? Like we really shorten that gap down, and we really try and tackle those issues right away. I know for me, my main thing when it came to our relationship was the fact that in my previous relationships, I didn't like I was a type to not necessarily go through those tough times together. So once something came up, I was like, you know what, I'm cool. I don't need to deal with this. I'm out. Yeah. So now that I'm in a long-term committed relationship, you just can't just get up and leave. So you have to deal with those situations, right? So so counseling definitely helped at least with like Sarah was saying, like developing those skills and having those tools. So when certain things arise, then you can actually have a conversation and talk about it.
Absolutely. And we're not always gonna use the tools. Sometimes I know that I should be doing what the counselor told me,
right?
And I just don't. I'm like, nah, you know what I mean? But
I agree.
It's not easy.
At least it's in your mind, like, okay, I should be doing this. Whereas before, it was never there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's work in progress.
Absolutely. And one thing I want to say to viewers is like, before you drive a car on the road, you have to take lessons.
Yes.
You have to educate yourself on how to drive, how to do the basics with driving. So there's a manual. And a lot of times people jump into marriage without a manual. Like there is a blueprint. There is, there is a blueprint and guidance to say, okay, how should we deal with this? How should we deal with that? So counseling isn't for crazy people.
Yeah.
Especially in the Caribbean, we always think it's about crazy. Oh, I'm not crazy. It's not about being crazy. It's about being healthy.
Yes.
You have to be healthy mentally and emotionally in order to be the best version of yourself.
Very well said.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. Counseling is for everyone.
Yes.
Absolutely. Guys, Adriel, Keva, thank you so much for this conversation. I'm really glad we reached out to you, and I'm really happy that you guys accepted. If anybody wants to reach out to you, how can they do so? If they want to talk to you and they're liking what you're doing, can tell us how they can reach you.
Okay, so we are on both YouTube and Instagram. So our YouTube channel is Dishin with the Chablals. You guys could probably put it in the link or somewhere.
Yeah, we will. Yeah.
I don't have to spell out the whole thing. But yeah, and on Instagram as well, Dishin with the Chablals. We're on there. Reach out to us, shoot us a message.
Slide right into the DMs.
Yeah, we're super open, we're transparent people, and we just want to see people grow. That's what we're here for.
Exactly.
Good.
Awesome. Thank you again. It was an honor, and I'm sure we'll have another conversation sometime soon. And to our viewers, thank you for watching, and please reach out to Adriel and Keva if you have any questions for them. So until next time, don't forget to
live your truth.